objection. Question number 3, Amy Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order. Order. Order again. A member, Amy Adams, is the back of the chamber. It's harder. Amy Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance and asks, what reports has he seen on the state of the economy?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday the latest consensus forecasts collated by the New Zealand Institute of Economic Research were released. These forecasts confirm the difficult situation the government has inherited. All forecasters have revised their forecasts downwards and are now, on average, expecting 2 more quarters of negative growth.
Order. Point of order, the Honourable Dr Michael Cullen.
Interrupt the Minister on this matter, but the Labor Party submitted a question. Had the Minister for Finance seen the reports of the NZIER, latest economic forecast of NZIER, which the Clerk's Office ruled out because apparently the Minister has no responsibility for the NZIER, which of course is true. Whether he'd seen those reports, it seemed to us, was certainly a matter of ministerial responsibility, and yet the government's been allowed to question what reports has he seen on the state of the economy, and of course the Minister's launched into an answer about consensus forecasts, NZIER, etc. I think we draw that to your attention, sir, because we don't want to get in long arguments with the Clerk's Office. It does seem to me that there is a not entirely even-handed ruling from the office on these questions.
Order. I don't think that last point was fair, but the Minister makes an interesting point because, as he well knows, as a Minister who's served many years in this House, the rules applying to answers are a little different from the rules applying to the standing orders applying to questions. And of course, while the Minister cannot be questioned about something he's not responsible for, the reports that he's asked about, so long as they are in the area that he's responsible for, he can refer to those reports. And that has been long-standing practice, and I invite the Minister to continue his answer.
Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, the Honourable Dr Michael Cullen.
That's my point. My point was the question that was submitted in the name of Mr Cunliffe asked whether the Minister had seen certain reports, which actually named those. This question from Ms Adams asked what reports has he seen on the state of the economy. It's hard to see what the difference between those two is, unless the Minister, of course, is confined only to reports for which he has direct responsibility, which quite properly he's not answering along those lines because the Minister of Finance has responsibility to be aware of any reports on the state of the New Zealand economy.
Order. I think the interesting thing that the member might like to reflect on is that if he submitted a further question along the lines of the question that has just been asked, he acknowledges it is different from the question he sought to lodge. It is slightly different, and I assure him we'll endeavour to make sure that the questions are treated the same. And I'll be watching for that. The Honourable Bill English in reply.
Mr. Speaker, the latest consensus forecasts show that all forecasters have revised their forecasts downwards and are now expecting 2 more quarters of negative growth. The NZIER forecasts all show ongoing twin deficit problems. The consensus view shows the balance of payments deficit persisting above $12 billion in each of the next 2 years. That is around the worst level that New Zealand has experienced.
Amy Adams.
To the Minister, what is the outlook for economic growth as reflected by the consensus forecasts?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, the consensus forecasts show 2 years of declining output. GDP is projected to have declined by almost 1% in the year to March 2009 and by a further 0.6% over the next 12 months after that through to March 2010. And that will have a considerable impact on government revenues.
Amy Adams.
To the Minister, what does this outlook imply about the basis for future growth?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, well, I wish the forecasts could show that there was a strong basis for future growth, but actually what they show is how poorly the foundations for growth have been laid over recent years. The previous government oversaw a period of growth based on an unsustainable credit-driven boom, notably in housing, and very low productivity. This boom is now reversing in spectacular fashion and is going to take a considerable period of well-founded economic policy to lay some foundations for growth.